Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. She brushed past me at Connor's birthday like I was a coat rack. Same backyard we'd stood in 100 times. Same grill smoke, same folding tables. Jenna set her cider on the far end, aligned her smile toward every guy but me, and let her shoulder touch a stranger's arm so he'd feel chosen. She didn't even look back. 3 months earlier, she'd have hooked her hand in my belt loop and dragged me to meet people. That night, she orbit skipped me on purpose. I watched. I didn't chase. Yo, Mark. Connor bumped fists and nodded toward her circle under the string lights. Everything good. Perfect, I said. Free hands. Less small talk. He smirked, but his eyes took a second pass across Jenna. She laughed loud at something Greg from accounting said. Quick glance at me to check if I heard. Of course I did. The laugh wasn't for the joke, it was for me. I let it land. I didn't walk over. I poured a soda, found a patch of fence, and listened to the patio chatter pass like traffic. She kept drifting, 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, smiling with a little edge, the look that says, this one's interesting, you aren't. Every loop, she clipped me with a sideways glance. There was a moment by the cornhole boards when she leaned toward Mike and said something close. He shook his head once, short, like a guy dodging a mosquito. He caught my eye over her hair. You good? I tilted the can toward him. Thumbs up. That was my first note. I'm not stepping into a performance. At midnight, when we said goodbye, she gave Connor a hug that lasted and gave me a nod that didn't. In the car, she buckled in slow. You seemed detached. Traffic cone, I said. I stand in one spot. Drivers work around me. You didn't even try. Try what? To be present. 2. I don't know, engage. You looked busy. I replied and set the navigation even though I knew the way. Didn't want to interrupt. She stared out the window. It'd be nice if you cared. If I'd known where this was headed, I'd have brought a chair, I said, and drove us home quiet. The week after, the temperature dropped in our house. Not the thermostat, her tone. Breakfast became a parade of short answers. She timed her showers so I'd be brushing my teeth when she shut the door. She started choosing new friends with names I hadn't heard before, women who got it and were always waiting at the new spot downtown. Evenings became texts arriving after 10, running late. Don't wait up, it's loud. The messages were clean, no hearts or kisses, just the kind of punctuation you send a coworker. It wasn't about going out. It was about leaving me on read. I matched pace differently. I didn't lecture. I didn't ask where, who, why. I changed my schedule. I picked up an early morning shift on Thursdays. Friday nights I hit the lake with Luis and Nolan, launch at first light, coffee and travel mugs, 3 hours of quiet water, then we'd be back by noon. I joined Mike and Connor at Dale's on Tuesdays for a burger and a game. No drama, no calendar discussion. I swapped our shared checking for 2 accounts. I left her household money and peeled my card away, clean and polite. We always had separate savings, but I made it immediate. Her groceries, her fun, her choices. Mine were mine. I unstacked our weekends and told her once. When I told her, she didn't like the efficiency. You didn't ask me, Jenna said, standing in the kitchen, tapping a statement with her nail. I'm not asking for permission to use my own time, I replied. Bills are covered. You've got your budget. Makes life neat. She frowned. It feels punitive. It's an organization chart. You keep telling me you want independence. I heard you. You heard what you wanted, she shot back. You always do. And you say what makes you the hero of your own story, I said. Different skills. Cute, she snapped. You think you're above this, but you're just hiding. Hiding would be pretending nothing's changed. I'm adjusting. She shook her head, but there wasn't a counterpunch. She'd expected a fight. I didn't offer one. I grabbed my jacket for the hardware store run I'd planned. I needed bolts for the dock ladder. She watched me go like she wanted me to ask for permission. I waved from the door and left it open. The first illusion of change showed up 2 nights later. I came back from the lake sun-stamped and tired. She was already home. The house smelled like roasted chicken. She'd set the table, candles, standard therapy staging. She poured me water like we were starting over. That smells good, I said and hung my cap on the chair. She sat across from me. I know I've been tough. Work is nuts. I shouldn't take it out on you. Work is always nuts, I replied, breaking the drumstick. How are your new friends? The loud places. She tried a soft laugh. You hate those places. I tolerate those places, I corrected. I hate being used as a prop. She toyed with her fork. I just want us to be more social. You're plenty social, I said. Me? I like a smaller circle. I'm making an effort here, she said, that edge twitching back in her voice. And I appreciate dinner, I told her. Tomorrow I'm at Mike's garage helping with his motorcycle. Thursday, I'm at Nolan's with a project. Friday, I leave at dawn. You're free to do whatever with whoever. Just respect the calendar. She stared. I'm saying I want more time with you. Then pick something Saturday morning that isn't a test, I said. Farmer's market? A hike? No social games. She nodded slowly. Okay. Saturday morning she forgot to set her alarm and texted at 9 that she was exhausted. Rain check. I'd already been at the market an hour, coffee in hand, half the list done. I kept going. At noon I changed the locks on my workshop and put my tools on a separate rack. I wasn't punishing her. I was tightening my life. When she woke up around lunch, she came downstairs and saw my truck loaded. What's all this? She asked. Taking the kayak to Mike's, I answered. He's got the room. I use it more with the guys anyway. You're moving out? I'm moving gear, I said. Lighter at home. Clear lanes. She chewed that for a second. We need to talk. We can talk at 5, I said. I'm back at 4:30. Keep it at 10 minutes. I've got a run booked. Just 10 minutes? She raised an eyebrow. Start a timer if it helps. At 5, when I came back, she tried charm again. She wore the dress she used to wear when we went downtown, and I wanted to get home early. She sat closer on the couch than she had in a month, a hand on my forearm. I miss you, she said. This is step 2 in a plan, I replied. We can skip it. Say what you're actually after. Her hand slid back. You're paranoid. I'm direct. She stood. You've been distant for weeks. Everyone sees it. Connor asked me at the party if you were okay. I can't be the only one doing the work. You aren't doing the work, I said. You're doing theater. The smile slipped. I could go out every night, and you wouldn't even notice. I'd notice the piece, I said. I'd get more done. She took a breath and then changed angles. We have a dinner next Friday with my team. You're coming. No, I told her. I'm on the lake. You can't skip my work dinner. Now I heard the old tone, rules. I can skip any dinner that puts me in a row of props, I said. If you want me, schedule me. Don't just announce. She laughed, short. You're unbelievable. On that, we agree. The second escalation didn't look like one at first. It looked like girls' night posts. Photos from patios with shiny lettering behind them. Tagging places, tagging people. I was never in the frame. She started returning after midnight. Keys loud in the bowl. She stood in the doorway, sometimes like she wanted to launch into an argument just to prove she could still get an argument. I kept my answers clipped. Still awake? She'd ask. Reading? I'd reply, holding up a contractor's book. Trying not to make dumb choices on the dock. You could ask how my night was. I could, I'd say, if I wanted to invite a sales pitch. She'd roll her eyes and disappear down the hall. The house had the kind of quiet that's full of taunts. I used it. I cleaned out the storage room and set up a small bench. I updated the title on my truck and moved my fishing gear into Mike's shed. I took 2 extra clients at the shop. Time is a currency. I stopped wasting it on her audit. The first public boundary came at Lily's barbecue the next Sunday. Jenna was back in her routine. Arrive, scan, peel off. She parked herself under a patio umbrella with a trio of guys from Lily's office and started a story about my husband, the minimalist, like I was a quirky project she'd found at a yard sale. People chuckled. I heard my name. The words predictable and safe, packaged like compliments, but wrapped in tissue paper soaked in vinegar. I gave it 5 minutes, then walked over, set my paper plate down on the table where I could reach it, and put a hand on the chair back. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. Hey folks, I said to the table. Quick note. If you need me, I'll be by the grill or the ring toss tournament. If you want to talk to me, talk to me. Jenna's commentary package is out of stock. Thanks. I smiled, picked up my plate, and walked away. A couple of the guys stared after me. One, to his credit, muttered, fair. Jenna found me by the coolers, eyes bright from embarrassment or anger or both. She leaned in close so her words would hit fast. You embarrassed me. I canceled a service you weren't authorized to run, I replied. You just made it weird. It was already weird. You always make it about rules, she said. It's suffocating. Boundaries are not cages, I told her. They're maps. People who hate maps get lost. She almost smiled, caught herself, and then switched weapons. Mike said you were wound tight lately. Maybe that's the problem. Mike can tell me that himself, I said. He knows where I stand. She tilted her head, like she was checking a watch only she could see. He's such a good listener. He's a good friend. Maybe he's a better man, she said, light, as if floating the thought out to see where it lands. I finished my drink and tossed the cup. Maybe he's better at cornhole, I said. We can all be great at something. That night she didn't come home. I didn't text. At 6 a.m., when she finally sent a message, fell asleep at Kristen's, I sent back a thumbs up. That was it. Monday morning, Mike walked into my bay at the shop and leaned on my toolbox. You free at lunch? For you? Always, I said, wiping my hands. We grabbed 2 stools at a hole in the wall down the street. Mike set his phone on the counter and didn't touch it. She's been reaching out, he said. Jenna? He nodded. The last couple weeks. It started like, you know him so well, help me read him. Then it turned into, we should grab a drink, just us. And last night it was not subtle. I stirred my coffee. Where? Lily's. Then she pushed for the Irish place by the park. I told her I had to be up early. She didn't love that answer. Did she tell you what she wants? I asked, even though I knew. Mike looked at the ceiling, searching for a polite way to say something impolite. She's got a theory that you don't appreciate her and a plan to showcase her options. I see it, I said. I shut it down every time, he added, like he needed it on the record. I know, I said. You're a lot of things, man. A knife in the back isn't one of them. He nodded once. So what's your move? My move is boring, I said. I keep my calendar. I clean my side of the street. And I collect facts. Collect facts how? Screenshots, times, dates, I said. Not to wave around. To make sure I'm not guessing. Mike drummed a finger on the counter. You want me to block her? No, I said. I want you to do something tougher. Mirror her interest just enough to see where she takes it. You never cross a line. You never lead. But if she sets up dinners, you write down the time. The place, the pitch. Then you walk away at the door like a gentleman. You keep receipts. You send them to me. His eyebrows rose. That's spicy. It's clean, I said. You're not doing anything wrong. You're keeping me informed. You're also giving her rope. I want to see her strategy. She wants a stage? We'll give her a spotlight. Mike looked at me like he expected me to blink. I didn't. He blew out a slow breath. You sure? I'm done playing defense, I answered. I'm not going to drag her. I'm not going to beg. I'm going to let people show me who they are. Then I'm going to act. He nodded. Okay, I'm in. But the second she crosses a line, I'm out. The second she crosses a line, the show ends, I said. For all of us. He tapped his phone. I'll keep you posted. He kept me posted. It started with coffee. She picked a new shop across town where no one knew us. She wore the jacket she used when she wanted to appear casual and expensive at the same time. Mike got there 5 minutes early and sent me a photo of the menu board with a timestamp. They sat in the corner. Later he sent me her lines. You always understand me. You're calmer than he is. It's just coffee. He left at 40 minutes. She texted him 2 hours later. Tonight is easier than you think. He didn't answer. Next week it was a Thursday movie. She chose a late show. Easy to hide your company when the lights are off. He walked her to the theater and then told her his brother needed help moving. She made a face, but played the cool card. Then Saturday, she suggested a winery out by the ridge. He countered with a diner at noon. She agreed, then arrived at 12:40 with apologies and eyes that had measured the room. Mike sent it all along. Times, places, words. He never let her pretend he was the one pushing. He didn't need to. She escalated on her own. When she threw out, he won't care, he's married to his routines. Mike added a question mark in his report, his way of asking, you okay? I sent back a fishing photo of a sunrise so bright it bleached the edges of the dock. I was more than okay. I was awake. Meanwhile at home, Jenna's tone chilled further. She came in one Tuesday and found me on the deck cleaning reels. She leaned on the door with a sigh designed for an audience. You're just going to fish your way through this? She asked. Through what? This distance. You built it, I said. I measured it. We could go out. Try a new place. Her voice floated like a peace offering. This was the second illusion of change, oversweet, heavy-handed. We tried new places, I said. They all turned into job interviews. We could go to Lily's thing on Saturday, she said. Together. I'll be in Nolan's garage, I replied. We've got a clutch to replace. You and your little club, she said, a smile with teeth. My little club shows up, I said. I respect that. She threw her hands up and walked away. Later she texted me from the bedroom we still technically shared. If you cared, you'd fight for me. I typed a reply and deleted it. Then I wrote it differently. I don't fight for trophies. I fight for teams. Pick a side. She didn't. She kept testing. She brought up a weekend, work, trip that didn't match any calendar. I marked it, said nothing, and spent those days at the lake house with the guys, grinding cedar for the deck. When I came back, Mike had a new log of messages. She'd invited him to a rooftop bar. She wrote, "We should stop pretending this isn't happening." He answered, "Nothing is happening." She wrote back a string of dots, and then, "It could." He didn't answer. He called me that night. "She's determined," he said. "I'm patient," I answered. "What's your endgame?" he asked. "I already started it," I said. "Division of accounts, separate schedules, gear off-site. I met with a planner last week. I started paperwork. I'll keep it sealed until she tells me which version of reality she's selling. And if she never says it, she will," I said. People who build their own stage can't resist announcing the show. 2 days later, she did. That was the kill turn. I came home Tuesday at 6 after a long job on a busted fence. My boots left dust on the mat. The house was too quiet. She stood in the kitchen with her arms folded like she'd been practicing the pose. She'd put on a sweater that looked soft and a face that didn't. "We need to talk," she said. I set my keys in the bowl. "Timer or no timer?" "No timer," she said, lips tight. "I found someone better. We need to split. Quickly." I laughed. I didn't mean to. It just came out. I was tired, and the line was so polished it squeaked. She flinched. "What is funny? I'm telling you I'm done." "You mean Mike?" I asked. That landed. Her eyes did a full stop. The air thinned. I couldn't help it. I laughed again, richer this time. "Oh, you don't want to hear the next part." "What next part?" Her voice hitched sharp. I pulled my phone. "Let's get a second opinion," I said, and hit Mike's name. He picked up on the second ring. "Yeah. You free?" I asked. "Come by. Now. Now." I put the phone back in my pocket and leaned on the counter. Jenna's jaw worked. "You're ridiculous," she said, moving toward the hallway like she might shut a door and reset the scene. Before she could, the front lock clicked. Mike stepped in, eyes flicking between us. Jenna lit up like a stage cue. "Mike, love, thank God." I told him. "Finally. We can stop pretending." Mike looked at me. "You told her?" "She told me," I said, with the new line from the brochure. He nodded once. "Okay." Jenna blinked. "Okay, what? What is that face?" Mike rubbed his neck. "Maybe you should say the thing, Mark." "Maybe you should," I said. He turned to her. "He asked me to keep things above board a while back. Asked me to mirror your invitations enough to see where it was going. I didn't cross a line. Not once. I always left early." She stared at him, then at me, then back at him. Words scrambled. "You're lying," she said finally. "This is a setup. I was testing you. Both of you. I needed to see if his friends are loyal." I raised a hand. Pause. "If your test requires you to schedule private drinks and late movies with my closest friend, to tell him I won't notice, to try to pull him off-grid on Saturday nights, then your test failed, on design. Also, poor timing, since I already had the receipts." "What receipts?" She tried to laugh and came up empty. I put my phone on the counter, flipped through the log, and set it near her fingers. Times. Places. Her lines. His nose. A photo of the winery door with the timestamp overlaid. Another of a coffee cup with her initials on the lid. It was all clean, boring, undeniable. She didn't touch the phone. Color went out of her face. She sat hard on the chair like someone had pulled a pin from a stool. "You two are cruel," she said, voice small now. "You planned this." "I plan to stop guessing," I said, "and to stop being your audience." She looked to Mike again, reaching for any branch. "You're throwing me under the bus to make him feel better." He shook his head. "I'm telling the truth. You're the one who drove the bus." She stood up so fast the chair skidded. I was lonely, she said. He's never home. He chooses the lake over me. You don't know what that feels like. I do, Mike said quietly. I know exactly how it feels when someone everywhere but here tells you that you aren't enough. You did it to him, and then you tried to make me your alibi. She opened her mouth again, but I was done. I pulled a folder from the kitchen drawer and set it on the island. She stared at it like it might bite. What is that? Jenna asked. Everything you said you wanted. I answered. Paperwork. Timeline. A list of what goes where. You can't be serious, she said. I am the most serious I've ever been, I replied. Your part is a signature and a move-out date. She reached for anger and came up with dust. You'll regret this. I regret acting late, I said. I don't have anywhere to go, she tried. You have a half-dozen places you prefer, I said. Pick one, or call your new friends, or the loud places. You're cold, she whispered. I'm done, I corrected. Different climate. She glanced at Mike one more time, eyes wet but empty of truth. Say something, she begged him. He lifted his hands. What do you want me to say? That I'll fix it? I can't fix what you chose. She pivoted to me again. We can work on it. We can try counseling. We can. No, I cut in. We can't. You spent weeks running field tests and building a story where I was the villain and you were a prize. I won't be in that story. Signed, pack, go. For a second, I thought she'd launch into a scene, throw something, stage a feint. Instead, she sagged, grabbed a pen, and scribbled her name where the sticky notes indicated. The pen shook. She shoved the papers away like they were hot. Then she grabbed a suitcase, stuffed it with imprecise urgency, and walked out. The door shut with a finality that sounded like relief. It would have been clean if it ended there. It didn't. Morning brought the messages. A flood. You're making a mistake. We can talk. Pick up. You did the same thing, always distant. I'll tell people what you did. Please, I panicked. You owe me for the years. I'll take half of everything. I'm sorry. Call me. You're not as strong as you think. They cycled by the hour, pleading, bargaining, threats, memory lane. I answered once. Please contact me by email regarding logistics only. Everything else will be ignored. After that, I didn't respond. Mike sent 2 texts. Give him space. Then he blocked her. Connor wrote me. She's telling folks you were unfaithful. I replied, believe what you want. I'm not campaigning. He answered with a thumbs up and, later, a show up. He stopped by with a 6-pack of sparkling water and a stack of barbecue chicken. Real friends bring protein and keep their mouths closed. Jenna tried one more tactic. She sent Nora, our neighbor, to check on me. Nora stood at the fence with her elbows on the top plank. You okay, cowboy? She asked. Better than okay, I said. She's saying things. Of course she is. Nora nodded. You want me to respond? No, I said. Let people pick their stories. I'm not defending my life in the group chat. Nora smiled. That's the right move. It's the only move that lets me sleep, I said. Weeks passed. The paperwork moved, slow, predictable, like new paint drying. Jenna's call slowed when she learned there wasn't any financial angle left, and that every shared asset had already been accounted for. The house was mine. I'd paid for it before we married. The accounts were separate. There was no drama to feed. She drifted to another city where her new start lived, a town with shinier signs and more rooftops. Word had it that she burned through favors, then couches, then patience. I filled my weekends with things that built. The deck got finished. The dock got new cleats. I bought a used pickup that needed love and gave it some. I made big breakfasts and invited people over on Sundays. Mike, Connor, their wives, Luis with his 2 kids. Laughter came back without being forced. I slept like a man who isn't being audited for crimes he didn't commit. 1 month after she left, I was at Dale's with Mike and Connor, wings on the table, the game low on the TV. A woman at the bar laughed at something the bartender said, the kind of laugh that isn't an ad. She caught me glancing and looked back with a simple nod. Mike leaned in. You ready? He asked. For what? For that, he said, flicking his eyes toward the bar. Not tonight, I said. But I will be. I want a quiet house first. Then I'll let someone in who can handle silence. Mike smiled. Fair. More than fair, Connor muttered. You earned it. A week later, I met Erin at the supply store while grabbing joist hangers. She asked me if I knew the difference between 2 fasteners. I did. We talked 5 minutes that didn't feel like a negotiating session. We grabbed coffee that Saturday morning. Daylight, clean, no subtext. She asked more about the deck than my past. I like that. We went hiking the next weekend. No stage, no audience. I didn't explain anything I didn't want to. It felt like stepping into a room with open windows. The final message I got from Jenna was a month after the papers cleared. It was neutral. Hope you're well. I didn't answer. I didn't block her either. I didn't need to. Silence is a reply that doesn't need a receipt. Last week, Luis and I took the new pickup out to the lake at dawn. The fog sat low. The water was glass. We dropped lines and let the quiet do the work. Mike texted me a photo while we were out there. A picture of his garage with my old kayak hanging from the ceiling, neatly labeled, mine by habit even if I stored it there. Under it he wrote, "Lunch later?" I sent back a thumbs up. When I pulled the truck into the driveway at noon, Erin's car was already waiting. She stepped out with a paper bag. "Blueberry muffins," she said, holding it up. "Don't get used to this level of effort. I only bake on bribes." I grinned. "I have something you can help with." "Oh." She raised an eyebrow. "Yeah," I said. "Pick out a color for the guest room. It's empty. Needs a purpose." "A real guest room," she said. "Not a holding pen. A room for people who are invited," I answered. She nodded once. "I can work with that." We painted that afternoon. The radio was low. The conversation was lighter than air and heavier than the past, in all the right ways. Later, when she left, I stood in the hallway with paint on my forearm and looked at the finished walls. They were clean. They were normal. I like normal. Jenna's name hasn't come up in weeks. When it does, it's like me talking about a product I tried once that didn't make sense. No anger, just the clear aftertaste of a choice I won't repeat. She built a stage to prove she had options, then tripped over the edge she sought herself. I didn't push. I just stepped aside and let gravity do its job. Before she left that night, the night of the folder and the laugh, she turned at the door and tried one more line. "You'll miss me," she said. I walked her to the stoop and held the door open. "Here's the truth," I told her, calm as a weather report. "I'll miss the version of you that respected me. She doesn't live here anymore." She stood there a second, waiting for me to soften. I didn't. "Take care, Jenna," I added. "Leave the keys on the hook. That's the last favor I need." She set them down, turned, and walked to her car without another word. That was the last scene that belonged to us. The rest is mine. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.